this video is going to show you solo GM getting platinum rank for the corrupted. Just a kind reminder to people, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, as it's critical to the success of this channel. So I wanted to do a solo GM on corrupted because there's a unique modifier that's exclusive, I believe, to corrupted. I believe it comes up on the strike playlist, but it's on corrupted anyways. So the mod on screen, you'll see it. So this is what class warfare does, the modifier. Using your class ability increases your fire team's damage by 10, 15, 20% for 15 seconds. Stacks 3 times. Also grants 25% damage resist whilst active. So I chose a warlock run on this, so I wanted to do a rift build because I want to play into class warfare. Because every time we pop a rift, we get a 10% damage bonus. Now, if I was to stack 2-3 rifts, it would be 20%, but that requires using a different rift build, which was Vesper of Radius. Now, I tried Vesper of Radius in this, and it was very good, but Stag's a little bit better. It's a little bit better because it's long range rift build. We don't want CQC build. We're not doing a CQC build in terms of weapons either. We're all long range. So I wanted a long range rift build that has damage resist because class warfare also has damage resist, and we can stack resistance mods in the game, and there's a build perfect for this. So let me show you it. The build is revolving around the stag. When you are critically wounded, you get rift energy. You also get damage resist, which is also 25%, which will stack with class warfare. So we are very, very tanky in a rift. And by the way, Well of Radiance does not work for the mod class warfare. I've already tried that. Just in case it did. I know that Well of Radiance is not a class ability, but just in case there was any silly interactions like that, then there wasn't. Just so you know. Right, so the weapons that we chose was a kinetic tremor pulse rifle for unstops, velocity baton for overload champs, and queen breaker bow. It's a perfect time to run queen breakers, and I've been wanting to run a solo GM with queen breakers, and this is the time to do it. Well, I could do it with inverted spire as well, but there are no unstoppable champs, are they? Whereas queen breaker is an unstoppable weapon. It's good for unstoppable champs. It blinds enemies and stuff. You can use it in very various different ways, but ultimately it worked out very good in corrupted, and I knew that it would. Not only that, you want to spec for crit because the final boss is weakened to crit damage. Are we all aware of that? Sedia is the same as Kali. It's the same model, so they are weakened to crit damage. Generally wizards are. I know it's not a wizard per se, but it's got the model of a wizard. Right, so we went with the crit weapon, and actually, in actual fact, it melts Sedia, does Queen Breaker. Any precision-based weapon would, like Sleeper would. Linears start to melt her a little bit. You know, obviously there's other strats you can use Anarchy with and stuff like that, but I wanted to use Queen Breakers in this with a Rift build. We are on Chaos Reach, Heal and Rift, Ball Lightning, Pulse Grenade, because it's the strongest arc grenade. Aspects were Arc Soul, Electrostatic Mind. We used in Spark of Magnitude, Resistance, Feedback, and Shock. That was the build that I went with for Corrupted. So as we start this run, the initial overload will be Scorn variant. We need to stun them immediately with the Pulse Grenade with Spark of Shock, jolting that target, and with Velocity Baton, and then we finish with the Queen Breaker. So we didn't rift because I'm about to rift. Now this is a very important overload that we must kill without interfering with many of the ads, which I'll explain in a minute why that is the case. Now look at the resist we're getting here. Now when class warfare does not proc on your screen, but I can confirm to you after my test today that it is working. You do get the 10% damage bonus. It's just that it isn't anywhere. It's a bug. It's not on the screen anywhere, and it's not linked to the UI on the left where you can only have so many lines of text. It's not that either. It's just not appearing. Class warfare does not appear on your UI to say that it's procced. Just remember, it's a 15-second buff, gives you a weapon buff and damage resist. You know, on all three classes depending on. But I think it works very well on a Stag Warlock. So we killed the boss very quickly, the VIP, and then ran past. This is a platinum rank run. Okay? we have skipped an overload because we haven't let him spawn in. The way we do that is by not killing any of the ads. Only the two overloads, one Vex overload, and the VIP. So the Scorn overload, Vex overload, then the VIP. That then skips a sniper spawn that does spawn up an extra overload. So just to confirm to you, don't clear the ads. I mean, if you do, bear in mind you need to kill that overload if you do, which you can accidentally do that. So elevator phase. Elevator phase turns out to be very easy, or should be, but it's hilarious what happens to me. We'll just watch the footage. So you can crouch behind and pick up relics behind here, look. So we can hide, we can use rifts, stag rifts, and all sorts. So my plan is just to do that, basically. One's still immune, but we've got an orb, which we missed somehow. And what happened there? We ended up getting knocked and flew in the air, which is kind of hilarious. So my strategy has not worked, but 9 times out of 10 it does work, right? It just didn't on this occasion, right? Because of physics, which was really hilarious. But that's fine. We end up surviving. It just goes to show how tanky we was in that rift. Because even though we got knocked well in the air, you know, the amount of HP that we had left, and then supered to save the run, which we're 3 minutes 10 seconds in, so it doesn't matter if I didn't save the run or not, because I would just relaunch and try again. But yeah, you want to stand behind a pillar and pick up the orb through the wall. It's a mini bug basically, but it's a pro bug. It's a bug for the player, as opposed to being against us. So now we're going to deal with this guy. Remember, Queenbreaker Bow buffs itself with arc compounding because it blinds targets on hit. You can use Queenbreaker as a DPS tool or a utility weapon. This weapon is basically Wendigo with blinding grenades, but in linear fusion form. I don't know why people don't understand that fact. I'm going to tell you why after this dialogue. So we have a Bane, right? One of them's a Bane, which can happen, and it's a shock Bane, which isn't the end of the world. A Drain one would have been worse. Maybe a healing one would have been even worse than that. So this section was a little bit slower because of that. Like here, look. But recognize Banes can't kill you. The Tether or the shock Banes can't kill you. They're mechanic. But they will leave you one shot to be killed by any other form of damage at all. So if they start shooting you with their gun, once they've shocked you, you die. But the shock itself, or the drain, will not kill you. So we've got finally one of the Phalanx's shields down. And look at that blind, how good that was. Any other situation, I would have had to jump over his head and reevaluate my situation on damage to that Phalanx. I didn't need to because I got blinding on the thing. So let's talk about blinding and why no one's really speccing for blind builds anymore. The reason why is because we're too powerful in today's sandbox. So I'm not just talking about Queenbreaker's Bow. This is a more exclusive problem. We used to all use blinding grenades in our builds. It was only 12 months ago that we used to do this. At this point now, there's no point to run a blinding nade GL. We are that strong. Whereas once over, you needed a blinding grenade GL to complete GMs. Well, you didn't need them, but they were very, very helpful. Blinding grenades, Wendigo. I mean, you can use Wendigo now, by the way. It's unsunset, of course. You can use Wendigo with blinding grenades, and it's actually kind of fun to use. And I have run it in a GM. I can't remember what video that was or when, but I did do it, didn't I? Can't remember which. It might have been Battleground Moon last year. Battleground Moon. I can't remember which one it was. So yeah, that's why people aren't speccing for blind builds. Not too much. I mean, at the very most, you could spec with a Spark of Beacon's Arc build with Indebted Kindness. That's what people may do. But they're not going to fully spec for a blind build because ultimately we don't really need it in the sandbox. But the thing about it is right now is Queenbreaker's putting out a lot of good damage. And you'll see it. with the amount of damage it's doing. It's doing very palatable damage. It will probably be doing better than a legendary fusion rifle. I have not tested this, but I can tell you with an educated guess that it's probably doing better than a linear fusion rifle. It's probably doing more damage than a linear, a legendary one. Um, providing it's not an arc one and you buff it with arc compounding or whatever. So we're going to try and open up this Shrieker, which we can, this is a bug, we can actually open the Shrieker up. There we go, we got it. This is another bug that is pro for the player. You can open the Shrieker up and he doesn't fire you. You do that by manipulating him a little bit, by going back and forth. But as you can see, there's a little RNG element to it and it doesn't always work. Because it didn't work there, did it? Let's see if we can get it to work again. No. If the Shrieker starts to spin, no. But notice my plan B. My plan B is to strafe left immediately. Or we can blind him. Okay, so Queenbreaker can blind him. So this is slow though, because it takes forever for them to open back up, the Shrieker. But yeah, you can blind them with Queenbreaker, which is nice. In a fire team setting, for example, you could blind the Shrieker, and as the Shrieker opens back up, all three of you just demolish the Shrieker. Like focus fire, you know, you get ready with your team, say, right, Shrieker's about to open, I've just blinded him, boom, melt him with rockets, GLs, whatever it is. And that's a decent strat. It controls the Shriekers. It's very good. Look at this, same thing again. These knights are annoying, but we can control them a little bit better than usual because we have access to a blind. On direct hit. See, that's very... The more simple a perk is, the better. Like, for example, if Queenbreaker said, after 4 precision hits you get a blind, it wouldn't be any good. But because it's on the first hit, okay, that is very useful, that we have that. And if the game ever does get more difficult next year, this might be a weapon that you might want to rely on. Let's hope the game does get more difficult next year. We need it to be more difficult in a meaningful way, though. Obviously, in a meaningful way. I don't mean, you know, we're already beating down as D2 players, making the sandbox and the new activities, you know, overkill for difficulty would just send more people away. But there still needs to be the right amount of difficulty, and I'll tell you why. When Bungie gives us the best stuff, people leave after 6 months. Hello, Final Shape. They give you Prismatic, arguably the strongest subclasses ever. Okay, now why is it a lot of people are not playing? Part of the reason is Prismatic, in my opinion, because when you get something that's that powerful, the meaning of the game goes away. Because there's nothing to surprise you anymore. You've been desensitized to power creep now. You're desensitized. Now speedrunners are loving this era of the game, and they're from a different cloth to you. And I understand that they're enjoying Prismatic and allowed to do solo GMs at world record paces. So they're having the time of their lives. But for everybody else, they're not having the time of their lives. They're going to play other games like Path of Exile, Warframe, the First Descendant in some cases. You know, because there's not enough challenge in the game if you run the best stuff. There is still a little challenge in the game. You can make the game as hard as easy as you want. But people aren't naturally going to handicap themselves because only someone like me does stuff like that. To seek extra to be extra satisfied from the game. I do that at times. You know, where I run white gear, blue gear solo GMs, or you know, no build GMs and stuff like this, solo GMs, or you know, stuff that I've done in the past. But normal everyday players ain't going to be doing this. They want to play the game as it's presented. And as it's presented right now, there's not enough challenge in the game, even for players who aren't that good at the game. There's not enough challenge in the game for them, right? And you can see that by the fallen numbers, which the numbers are very low now. It's actually now concerning. To the point where, what am I doing next year? Now, I've already made a video about this, so I recommend you go and watch my video about the state of Destiny 2. I won't bog this video down with it too much, but I will say, look, it's kind of worrying. If it gets any lower, I don't see any point in playing D2, as in me, which would be a huge shame. But other people, are also feeling like that, like people who don't make content as well. So if they're feeling like that, and then I'm sort of feeling like that, if the numbers get too low, like I can cook in this game. Um, if the game's healthy with numbers, I can do everything that's required of me. I can do all sorts, but if the numbers aren't there, I am limited in how good my videos are going to do for me, and whether there's an incentive there. So, for the double ogre section, we can. This is another bug, but it's a pro bug. So there's 3 bugs I've mentioned already that are pro for the player. We can crouch on the stairs and stop castaway from occurring. This is good because we can kill the hive unstop. There is only 1 hive unstop at double ogre phase. There's not 2. There's 1, but we need to kill him for platinum rank. Don't be skipping him. Which the thing about it is if castaway happens and you do teleport to the taken realm, the hive unstop will keep respawning at the entrance of this room at the very back, making him difficult to kill, and it means that you have to engage the boss and on the hive knights to get him. Right? To stop all of what I've just said, just crouch on these stairs, you can kill your unstop. When that's done, by all means start doing the castaway mechanic, because you've got no time gain there. You're starting to lose time at that point. You want to just start to deal with the ads, with the ogre. So we want to debuff and chaos reach him in a rift. So I'm in a rift and I'm using chaos reach. Now chaos reach is doing fantastic damage, and that's without geomag stabilizers, which obviously a geomag stabilizers run would be good, and I was gonna do a geomags. The reason why I didn't is because of class warfare. I want a spec for class warfare, so it is working. When we're doing our rift, we're getting a 10% damage bonus, which does multiply with everything. It multiplies with the debuff. It multiplies with what surges, or if my gun's overcharged. It stacks with all of the stuff. I'm not a D2 mathematician to accurately give you the full number of what everything is happening in the game right now, though. Some other D2 physicists can do that for me. I just want to, give you the solo GM and show you what it's like. So on the taken realm, when the hive realm is dealt with, which by the way you need to kill the hive ogre first, not the taken ogre. If you do it the other way, it's harder because there's arcanites. I would rather deal with void shields, acolytes than arcanites, right? There is solar knights, but they're no big deal, because what we want to do is bait the 2 unstops. Now there's 2 main methods of doing this. It's either upstairs or downstairs. The downstairs strat is good, but it's slower. It takes ages for those unstops to get to you. Whereas upstairs it's a little bit better, but we've got to clear out some of the acolytes. But because I've got velocity baton on, it melts the void shields really quickly, right? Velocity baton's probably going to be best in slot for this GM. I don't see any other weapon being better than this gun, because there's lots of void shields. I've got demo attrition orbs, so I can farm up lots of orbs for super, for grenades, for whatever orb mods I've got on my boots. So you can really build out with this weapon, right? Not only that, you can deal with overloads on its own. Like if I've run out of heavy, I don't even need heavy. I can still kill an overload with, let's say, 4 to 5 shots of velocity, which is very ammo economical, to be honest. Combine that with a pulse grenade, we are melting. We are absolutely melting. So we just need to get rid of these 2 unstops. It's the final one here, which is finishable. But we are going to finish from here, because that means we'd have to do... Well, we dealt with the knight anyways, I guess. That's fine. So we'll pick up all our orbs, look at the pulse grenade energy that we're getting back, because I've got innovation on. Now we just need to melt the taken ogre, which I have a super for. We want to speed this little bit up here. And I don't want to use any ammo, because I'm low on special, and my heavy is around half, which isn't too bad, to be honest, actually. So we'll do a rift, the pulse grenade, and the ogre knocks me back a little bit, so I lose damage because of it. So we'll finish him off with the linear. Boom, he's just about killed. Done. We can't have access to those orbs. I mean, we could go close and pop our rift for powerful attraction, but yeah, I just decided just to go. Like, we'll just go to the next section, because if we try and go in mid, the streakers will kill you, which means you need to kill the streakers to go in mid, and it's a time loss. It's not worth it. You will get ammo. The next room gives you plenty of ammo. So, next section, we've got 2 unstops. We want to bait the unstops away from the Thrall. We can do that very easily. We've got a rift, so we're going to get class warfare as a 10% damage bonus to our weapons. And we are just sort of being conservative a little bit here now for ammo, because I'm starting to be low on special. But I am going to whip out the heavy in a minute. Although there's heavy here though. I end up getting heavy and special from the Hive realm. So that's good. Right, when we use a bit of Queenbreaker, doing massive damage there. That's very good damage, trust me. It's actually really good in terms of like as a linear and how it operates. If anything, it's probably the best linear in the game right now that we have access to for GMs. Sleeper's good as well. Obviously, Sleeper's always good, but I'm on about utility here. So Queenbreaker's better than Sleeper for utility because it blinds this season and it buffs itself. Sleeper's always a top pick, but I'm not showcasing a Sleeper run off. And there's no Solar Surge. It's Arc Surge. And people like me playing to the burn or to the surge, so I will play to it. You know, I could run Sleeper Simulant, yes, by all means. Well, I can't actually now, can I? Because I've lost the checkpoint. So now I can't test anything corrupted. I can't do any tests now in this GM until next year. Second week of Act 3. Obviously, there's Luminality to do. One word on Luminality, because I've had this month at least 10 to 15 people ask me to do the solo GM for Luminality. I'm going to tell you why I'm not doing it this year and why I haven't yet. The reason why I haven't done Luminality solo GM yet is because Oscillation is on. So Oscillation from Armsdealer is a modifier that's active to Luminality. Here's what I'm not happy about. The first 2 weeks of this act, people had Luminality on their Gildan Conqueror node. People who done that then did not have to do Luminality with Oscillation. It was bugged. For some reason, Luminality didn't have Oscillation on. Right? But now it does have Oscillation on. So there was a bug. How many weeks ago would that be? I can't mind how many weeks ago that was. But they didn't have Oscillation on. If you don't believe me, go and check the runs for week 1 when Conqueror released. You will see the runs that people weren't having to put up with Oscillation. Now, Oscillation's obviously a very interesting mod, and there's ways and means around it. And I'm not saying, you know, I don't know if it's exactly harder or easier now than what it was, but I'm going to run it next year because I'm not looking forward to running it. Do you understand me? So it's going to be probably the last... Well, no, I'll probably do week 1 of Act 3. That's when I'm going to do it. It'll make sense to do it then as well. There's no sense for me to do it now because no one has access to it. Only 10%, like 5-10% of players have that node, I think. Not many people have the damn node, so not many people have Luminality accessible to them. So I'll do it when everybody's got access to it, and that'll be next year. That's what I'm doing. You know, if I wanted to, I could do it, you know, this week. I haven't played Luminality not once. I'm not a fan on the GM, to be honest with you. I don't really like it that much. But I'll make sure that I do it, because people do want to know how to do it, what loadout you need to use. Behemoth's no problem to beat. Behemoth's a very easy GM. Corrupted's also a very easy GM. So it's only Luminality where there remains the final challenge in the game for GMs, if you know what I mean. You know, if that was, you know, so to speak. So this section was literally just dealing with the overloads left and right. The unstops were in mid. Very easy, very straightforward with this loadout. Like I say, this loadout works. It works very well. Especially the fact that we can keep proccing a rift for a free 10% damage bonus to our weapons. I did feel it was quite noticeable. That will stack with our compounding. It will stack with my debuff, concussive reload. So that's a lot of things stacking at once. Now, if we take all the buffs and debuffs away, is Queenbreaker Bow doing the damage? No. Maybe not. Then it would be... But that's not Queenbreaker Bow fault. That's the linear fusion rifle fault. all linear fusion rifles just aren't doing the damage now because we're in a grenade launcher meta. And as I said to you on the previous video, and I'll tell you again, in Apollo, they are definitely going to be nerfing grenade launchers, special weapons and heavy weapons, grenade launchers. What they're going to do is probably buff linear fusion rifles, and maybe even snipers to a degree as well, and rockets. Rockets, snipers, linears. That's what's going to end up happening, unless they release some new archetype of weapon for Apollo. Some new heavy archetype that we have not seen before. Maybe they might do that. I don't know. That's me being hopeful, but we will see. But that's what's going to happen. So be prepared for it, people. Grenade launchers will be nerfed. Now look at the Overload. Overload has fell off map. This has always been a thing. Well, it hasn't always been a thing. It was a thing when they updated this. So Cryptid has had a history of having bad platinum rank ratings. So the Overload champion, and I've confirmed this with other people who are coders. I've actually spoken to a coder about this. Yeah, I have a long memory. And I said to him, I think that Overload falls off the map because he's not coded to live on that island. And the coder said, yep, that's exactly what's going on. That Overload is not coded to stand on that island. And that is exactly why he jumps off. Because he thinks there's more island to step on. This is a problem for Platinum rank, because if you don't do any tag damage to him at all, you will not get Platinum rank. You need to tag him with your gun. Tag him with your gun. Eventually he falls off. If he won't fall off, just kill him with your GL. He's a very simple Overload to kill, providing you get all the acolytes. So we've got a Bane here, right? So it's a Meteor Bane, which isn't a problem. We can deal with him, but he has Invis teleported. I don't know how he learned that move. He's got Invis Minotaur abilities. So it's a shame as well, because he's a Bane and I want to get rid of him. That means I'm going to have to be a bit careful when I go down there now, even though he's about dead. Doesn't matter, he can still spawn meteors on my location. So I'm going to have to put some GL shots on the floor and jump up in the air with a rift. So I'm jumping up. I'm going to even use a pulse grenade because the damn Minotaur, the major, not the major, the ultra, I'm going to super him just to speed it up. I have a choice here now. This is an ammo choice. Do I super the champ or do I super the VIP target? I think because the Minotaur is awkward, in actual fact he's more awkward than an Overload, it's better to just super the Overload, the Minotaur, then use ammo on the Overloads itself. Right? But we need to deal with that bubble first. The Vandal, the sniper Vandals, they bubble quite frequently. Get rid of them first, then start dealing with your Overload, because you won't be able to do damage to your Overload properly, and they'll then rage, and, they could kill you. So be careful of that. Now, look at that melt there. Very good. So now I'm having to start to manage my ammo efficiency quite a lot here. Heavy ammo's healthy, but not super. I want more for the boss fight, and special ammo is good-ish, but I'm going to want another brick because I need to spend some ammo on this Overload, 4 or 5 shots or whatever it is. So I'm looking at my pulse grenade energy, which I haven't quite got, but I will get because I've got bomber when I pop my rift. Let's see if I pop my rift or not. I'm not sure if I do, but I can make orbs, so I'm going to get pulse grenade energy anyways. Depends if I use it or not. I'm not sure if I do or not. I actually don't. I decide not to, because by the time I've thought about using a pulse grenade, he's dead. That's just one indication on why GMs are a lot easier than what they used to be, because I realise myself, I'm not having to make critical moment-to-moment decisions like I used to. But the funny thing is about me, and it's what I've realised, this is a self-discovery thing, the old Grandmaster Nightfall playstyle is still in me. I still remember every single GM on the old resilience stat and how to play the old Grandmaster Nightfalls, not the new ones. And that is a playstyle in itself. Completely. Utterly completely. These critical decisions need to be made. In today's sandbox, we don't need to make critical decisions. There is far less critical decisions that I am making on a moment-to-moment basis every week in this game. I'll just be honest. So it's a lot less intense for me. I'm not too bothered that it's, not as intense for me, because It's more about you, the viewer, and less about me nowadays, I think. You know, I need to spec for you, not for me. You know, and it's more about you and what you want now. That's what I'm starting. That's what my strategy is now. But yeah, I am telling you, look, GMs are far less intense now as opposed to what they used to be, because resilience. They fixed resilience, but when they fixed resilience, they killed a playstyle that is no longer in the game. If you saw my Hallelujah clips, you would know exactly what I'm going on about. My Hallelujah GM fail compilation. If you've seen that on my live premiere the other week, then you know exactly what I'm on about. If you haven't, then you don't. If you didn't play before Season of the Haunted, you don't know. You just don't know about it. But that's fine, because I don't think we're ever going to go back to that level of difficulty again in this game, unfortunately. So we're going to debuff with GL, then pulse grenade, then super. This is good, and I'll tell you why, because it spawns in 2 waves of enemies, which is good, because that means I can do more jolt damage, because there's more access to more enemies, so there'll be more chaining. So it's better to super the boss, go to back island, then start dealing with all the ads, because it deals with all of the ads in one go, rather than breaking the boss's shield with the orb, then going back, then dealing with the ads. Doing it like that's much longer. You doubled your time on phase 1. Do you see what I'm saying? Now look at this jolt. Look at how good this jolt is on my super energy. I'm going to get some blinds in as well. Look at the good jolt it's doing there. That was really good. Now look at the sea of whatever this stuff is. What's that stuff called? Why is it coming at me like that? It's so weird. It's the tonics, it's the potion materials, isn't it? For some reason, it just all like... I guess because I'm standing back here and I've killed loads of enemies. That's why it was like that. So I'm going to push up as well, because we can, and I have a rift. I wasn't sure on how many knights were alive and if there was scions left, but there was. There was quite a lot. There was more ads than I expected. So we'll get a rift down for damage resist and class warfare, and we're going to try and deal with these knights. There's a healing bane, and I did not know. So that makes this section a little bit more difficult. So even though corrupted is far easier than what it used to be, the fact that the banes in this can make it, you know, 10 to 15% a little bit more difficult than what usual. It depends on what you get. Depends on what type of bane. Ideally, the easiest bane to fight would be a shock one. So shock and bane are the same, but bane's more drain's more deadly than a shock. Healing can be bad in certain circumstances, and shields, I suppose. It just depends on what GM it is and stuff. But yeah, I found that banes sometimes can be difficult in corrupted, is what I'm trying to get at with you. We'll get a blind on this knight because he's been very annoying. Let's get both knights, finish them off. We did use our pulse grenade, but that's fine. We are going to get it back anyways. So we're looking at ammo. We're now healthy. We're full, special, heavy. That's perfect. What I'm going to do here, now I end up messing up because I end up sleeping Guardian. I'm asleep here on this. So obviously there's the islands, and I know exactly how the islands, the floating islands that come across the rocks. I know exactly how they work. They come in 2 waves. I should know better. I end up supering at the worst possible time. This is one of the worst supers I've done this year, I would say. But the thing about it is, what ends up happening, see, there's a reason for everything. I end up doing Queen Breaker bow damage, which is fantastic anyways. So here we go. We're going to try and do our super. We've totally forgot about the damn rocks. Remember, I know how these work. It's just I've totally forgot. Oh, no, it wasn't because of that. It was 2 reasons, actually. The damn orb didn't break the shield, and I assumed it would. So I should not have assumed. See, the ball didn't track the boss, so we've lost our super there. But in actual fact, it doesn't impact the run at all, because you're going to see right now. Even though I've made a mistake, so now I'm thinking, all right, yeah, let's look for rotation of rocks. They spawn in 2 waves. So we're going to wait for the next rotation. We need to make sure we get a debuff, and I'm looking for a DPS location. So look, there's phase 1 of islands. Phase 2 is about to go past. As soon as that goes past, this is how you DPS properly. We're going to pop a rift down just in case. Debuff We even pulse grenade, and we're going to get some damage in with Queen Breaker. Look at the amount of damage it's doing. By the way, the boss is kind of hard capped and kind of not. It's in between hard cap and soft cap because we've actually exceeded half HP there. Which on a Golden Gun Nighthawk hunter, now the strats I'm remembering, you can actually do more damage than this with Golden Gun Nighthawk. Which, if you're interested in that, go and look at my previous corrupted runs and you will see the strategy. That strategy will still work now today in the game. Look, because I've just bypassed the cap of half. The cap is meant to be half HP. Look, I've bypassed it, which is actually good. And if you do bypass it to a third HP, you actually skip the second to last wave of captains. That's exclusive to hunters only, solo hunters. But honestly, it wasn't a problem that is the case. We're still doing fine. So we need a rift and we need a pulse grenade because we have a Bane. He's a meteor Bane and he is being a bit of a nuisance and we are getting flinched. But we end up getting rid of our overload behind this rock. Anywhere else we would be dead. So positioning is critical to this island here in particular. Standing somewhere with some cover. That's exactly what we did. So even though we missed a couple of crits, you know, it was against us a little bit, we were still good. Okay, so now we're going to deal with the ads on the next island. So how Sedia works is every set of ads you kill, Sedia will move to the next island. So that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm just wanting to get rid of the knights and the snipers. And then we can push far forward to the next phase. There's going to be an unstoppable champion. Right? Now I'm thinking about ammo as well. Which, for the boss fight, you don't need a lot of ammo. Heavy ammo, that is. I don't need a lot. So my ammo is actually quite healthy at this minute. And I'm full on special. Which is, so we're doing very good on ammo at the minute. So we're going to get a good pulse grenade down here if we can. We're going to try and get a stop on the unstop if we can as well. Do we? We do, but we hit immune, I think. Yeah. Look at that. Oh, we get one crit, but one was immune. That's fine. That's prepped him, to be honest. Because now the Sedia has teleported away. So the unstoppable champion can now be isolated on his own, look. Which that's exactly what I'm going to do. So we can do that. I'm starting to save a little bit of heavy because I didn't know. At the time of doing this, I didn't know how much heavy I would need exactly. You know, if we account for boss damage, maybe 2 shots per phase, that's 4. Maybe another 2 shots for captains. So, you know, you're looking at 6, 7 shots maybe needed. But at the time as I was doing this, I didn't know, like, do I need more? Do I need less? I don't know exactly. You know, we're just going to jump over. So I'm just going to jump right across and try and kill the scions as quickly as I can. Try and spawn kill your scions in corrupted. Always try and spawn kill them as best as you can with your grenades, your velocity baton, whatever you're using. Try and have them melted as quickly as possible. Sedia is going to try and knock you off the map. The tip to not die to Sedia is to run towards her, not away. Because, because momentum is based on movement, right? But Sedia can enhance your momentum the wrong way, where you fly off map. So in order to not do that, slide into her, not away from her, because that will cause you to fall off map. That's the biggest mistake I see people do with Corrupted. It takes 3 orbs to take down this boss's shield. What I'm going to do is, right, this is the goal here. If you're not comfortable with Corrupted, then do this. Take down the boss's shield and do not do any DPS to Sedia at all. You want to melt down your captains. I'm going to use a super for it, look, because I would have died otherwise. Well, maybe not, but there would have been more of a risk for me to die there. And I think that's a good super to just melt down your 2 solo captains, because they're run killers. Now, if one of them was a Bane, which I think can happen, that would be a problem. A drain Bane on this section wouldn't be good. Now, look at that damage there. 92k per crit. We've done a lot of damage there, and we're on final phase. Final phase will spawn in Scion. Well, we're on next to last final phase because we've got... On final phase, there is 2 extra captains, but we're not going to kill them. We will kill the boss by that time. Velocity Baton will easily deal with all the sounds that cluster, like this. So it's good to play a little bit aggressive on this phase. Don't sit back too much, because Sedia will now actively track you and stomp you. Yes, Sedia does have a stomp mechanic, and she'll follow you actively. She's more aggroed. Have you noticed this fight? The boss has got more aggroed on you as the fight goes on. So, free orbs, same thing again. What I'm looking to do here is get a pitch up for good DPS. Now I'm thinking, should I do it in mid? No, because Sedia goes to mid. She'll actually go anywhere you are. So you want to go somewhere on the island where you can't get booped. Wait for the boop, then throw the orb, because a boop is on the timer. The boop mechanic from Sedia is a timer. I would guess it's 20 seconds or 15 seconds, but she can't back to back boop you, right? We can take advantage of that. So during DPS, I won't get booped because I've waited one out. Make sense? So look, I'm waiting. Are we going to throw? I actually hesitate because I want a rift down. So I'm going to pop a rift, then I'll wait for another. Oh, no, I don't. I just go for it. Beg your pardon, I just go for it. So I just go debuff, then linear shots. I'm getting booped about. That's fine. We end up going through it. So that was a solo GM on Corrupted with the new modifier, Class Warfare. It's a very good modifier. I'm just sort of disappointed that Class Warfare isn't on any other GMs. That's mainly what I'm disappointed about. That was the run. Hope you enjoy. Thank you.